Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the new mockumentary musical comedy, The Premiere. And this is from co-writers and co-directors Christopher Bokems and Sam Pizzulo. And Pizzulo stars as a fictionalized version of himself in this film as he's trying to make a musical of Scream. And then it fails. And then he decides to make a documentary about the making of a failed musical about Scream. And as Pizzulo and Bokems are actually making a mockumentary about this documentary about the making of this Scream musical. Layers. And I think this is such a fun premise and idea. And in general, I think it leverages this craziness really well. And the Sam that Pizzulo plays in this film is he is such an egotistical narcissist that's just so full of himself. And it's funny because Pizzulo gives a very like Dan Levy vibe for sure. And he definitely has a good bit of comedic timing and approach to this character, which it's hard to empathize with Sam because like he's so just unlikable in so many different ways. And this film goes a little wild in terms of its plot and narrative where it takes him, and the comeuppance that he gets is kind of crazy. And I think it's a bit of a hard leap to where this film goes, but I think it's crazy enough to match the crazy vibe of what this whole film actually is, because there's so much farce and comedy to this idea in the first place. I think the funniest recurring gags are the text cards that pop up. It'll be like, I'm gonna sue this person, and then like card, his suit was denied. And like those kinds of things where it's like subversive of what we see on screen, what we hear from the characters, and then it'd be like, but it didn't. And playing around with that I think really works, and the text cards are actually very funny throughout this documentary. I think Pizzulo gives such a committed and charismatic performance. He's so big, and this story is so wild that it really fits his dynamic. I think most of the cast is pretty solid. You could definitely tell this was like a smaller film and such, but some of the performers do stand out with what they do in terms of creating these characters along the way. My biggest gripe with the film, though, because it is funny, it is a really great concept, and you have a really strong central performance, even though the character is pretty insufferable, but he's doing the performance so perfectly. My biggest issue is this film feels like it really, really loses steam. Because, like, you look at a lot of great mockumentaries, very few of them get past 90 minutes. Like, some of the best ones are like 80, 85 minutes. This goes like an hour and 45 minutes. This is 105 minutes. And it just feels like after a while, it's not doing anything. There's long stretches where it's not doing anything fresh or interesting. It's just, how much more can you reinforce that Sam is a despicable person? We pretty much get that pretty easy. And this probably could have been leaned out and gotten to its ending and resolution a lot quicker. And I feel like the pacing of the film would have been much more engaging if it was trimmed down and leaned out. But there's enough here. There's enough humor. There's enough interesting commentary on the craziness of trying to put a show together and all the behind-the-scenes challenges. And I think this film's pretty insightful in how it navigates all that. But at the end of the day, I think it's a little too long. It loses its steam, it loses its pacing, and this probably could have been under 90 minutes and really like hit home what it was trying to do. But there's so many great elements in it that it's still a good movie and an enjoyable experience, and certainly one you should probably check out. But those are my thoughts on The Premiere. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.